Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 415. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsad.
Yo.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hey.
Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers, to 415 of the Gamecast. Whew. We got a topic for you tonight on, the news. Essentially, crossover platform play. It's reality coming up, so we're going to have a little topic on that. But first, let's kick it off with what we've been up to, guys. We're going to have a spoiler cast, too. Look for that in your feed if you haven't seen it yet. It will be a Spider-Man spoiler cast coming up. For me, that's really all I've been up to. I've kind of tinkered with that. I've been very busy, so I haven't had much gaming time. I have one Taskmaster thing left, and just a bunch of crimes around the cities to clean up. Everything else is finished. So it's pretty much done. I have one suit to unlock. I probably have to replay the base challenge one time because I need 2 more tokens. But that's about it. So anyways, so that's it for me, really. I have Tomb Raider installed. Haven't started it yet. So Corey?
I heard people like it. So.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good. I'm going to try it out. So it's just supposed to be very similar to the last one, which I liked, but I understand why that would have
I heard
upset
people. They improved the Tomb stuff. So
Good. Corey, what have you been up to?
I finished Spider-Man, so we can talk about it. And playing a lot of Destiny now. But Spider-Man, we'll talk more in depth. Just a real quick, if you don't want to get spoiled on anything. I thought it was really good. I definitely think the ending, once you start the end game sections of it, it kind of just you can speed through that real quick. Mm-hmm. And I do not like some of the side characters at all.
We'll get to that in spoiler cast. Definitely get to a spoiler cast with that. I've been waiting for weeks to talk about that. So, and you've been playing a lot of Destiny too?
Yes, a bunch. Yeah. It's just they've just changed so much, and you're still getting new content from the latest DLC that they just had new content drop today from it. Just really crazy. So
I heard that.
I'm excited.
I heard the place that the place that Cage is at is kind of weirdly empty up there.
Yeah, no, the character they killed off was one of the most popular characters, and he was kind of the only reason to go to this section of the tower, and now he's not there because he's dead, so there's no reason to go there. Nope.
All right.
There's a plan, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a plan. He'll be back. Yep. Sorry, he will be. Nobody stays that long.
I don't know about that.
I think he will be. Maybe not the same voice actor, but I think he will be. Mike, what have you been up to?
Well, I was also done with Spider-Man before, but I 100%ed it now, so I got that trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It is kind of dull and repetitive at that point when you're looking for some last crimes, and you have to look at the map to see which number of crimes and which area of the city you got to go to.
Maybe save this. Much, yeah, let's not do this. Let's talk about this on the number. I'll save it.
No, that's it. That's all. So once I 100%ed, I just ended it and went back to Witcher, which I was also in the middle of the end game for. Witcher 3, that is, if you guys don't remember. And so I'm playing through that, and now I'm at a real impasse and problem with this game now, because I beat the main story of that game, and then I got this ending that just gut punches the fuck out of you, pretty much. And I'm like, is this the real ending? And I went to bed that night thinking that's the only ending, like cinematic real ending. I know little character, side character fates can be changed a lot because that's the nature of the game, but I didn't know there would be totally different ways that the ending can go. But I looked it up, and there's at least 2 other ways it could have gone, and I got the worst ending. And I'm like, why? So I went and looked a little further online, and it's it's about building up a certain character's confidence in this last handful of missions, last quarter of the story. I said the wrong things, and I'm like, what? And I didn't know what I said wrong. I reloaded the very end and said things differently. It didn't change anything. So now I'm like, because the ending I got is just so unsatisfying. It just feels like a waste of time. So I want to play the game some more, and I plan on playing it in between everything else that's going on this fall. But do I do New Game Plus? I don't know if I want to go all the way back to the beginning. So I try to load halfway back through the game, suffer losing all of the stuff that I got and all my upgrades basically to just say things differently during this
That's
one
the problem.
portion.
Like, how far back does it go? Like,
it goes back at least a quarter of the game.
That's pretty brutal.
It is, and it seems almost arbitrary to me because again, like, it's just.
Well, the thing that I'm questioning here, Mike, is if you do get the good ending, is it going to be satisfying enough to make it worth all this effort?
What are you talking? Like another 20 hours?
No, it shouldn't be that long. It would probably be like, if I didn't like look at other side missions, and hopefully I don't get penalized for not doing them.
But that's what I'm saying. You might like that's.
That's what
everything I hear about this game.
That's what I thought mattered more was doing side missions, and it might have mattered for an earlier like big story part. But all it seems to have mattered is what I said in like 3 different cutscenes that are spread out throughout the last like 5 hours of gameplay.
Well, so, you could always look up what to say too to save yourself sometimes. So you don't have to.
Maybe
make a mistake.
Yeah, at that point I might do that.
So
save yourself
there's
some time.
There's that. But then there's also...
Or just live with your actions. That's the ending you got. Like,
see, that's why I'm happy with my Mass Effect 2 ending. When what's-his-name died, I'm like, that's fine. I knew what I was doing when I sent him in there. I'm fine with his death.
Jacob,
yep. I knew he was dying. I sent him away.
Like, in those games, I have my first ending, and then I go back and I played from a certain point and like did the best thing I can do. With this, I don't know if I want to do that, but I also
that's my
don't know if I
think
want
though. Is it worth the time and effort? The other ending, is it going to be worth the time and effort that you're going to be putting in? That's the
thing.
Question.
Is the other end, just like seeing the other ending and knowing that I did the right thing in story to get there would make me want to play the DLC more.
Yeah, but you did that after you've already made decisions, and it's like
I didn't make a decision. I just talked to a girl.
That's
you made a decision by opening your mouth, Mike.
No, I had to choose one of the things.
Exactly, and you
3
chose.
or 4 times, and I thought I was being supportive, but maybe too supportive. Who the fuck knows? It's arbitrary. They're a foreign company. They don't know what they're talking about.
What is the news we have for them? Translate. Isn't there news for them right now?
Did you see Project Red?
Yeah, what's that? Receipt payment.
Big thing about the
I know we're what we're up to, but I'd love to talk about this right now with this.
Well, this is it because that's it. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I want to play the game a lot more. But it seemed arbitrary. I had that happen earlier in the game, which I was willing to live with because it was earlier in the game. A certain character died because a completely seemingly unrelated lesser of 2 evils I chose, and because of that, this other character who had nothing to do with that on the surface died, and that's kind of what this game does.
I mean, personally, I think you should have played a better game, but
I was over leveled.
Basically, I got done with that game in 10 hours, so you made it this far. Let me give you credit, but everything I've done with that game or heard, that is not for me. That is not for me. So. Anyways, we'll go into...
I understand why it's not free. Like, that is like the epitome of single player. Like,
sure, it's just not. It's too
daunting.
It's too there's too much. Like, there's just too much. Like, there's a point where it's just too much.
I like that there's a lot, but again, like,
I think I just don't think you want the theme or the setting, Jim, because Red Dead Redemption has just as much.
Yeah, I know. I'm always worried about. I'm still worried about Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, that's a game that I played because everybody raved how good it was. I'm like, well, I'll try it, and I got hooked on it. I really loved it. But and the same things with like Fallout 3. Fallout 3 I loved, but I also I did everything in Fallout 3. Whereas in Red Dead I didn't do everything. So I mean, I guess it depends, but. And it just depends. I've tried. I give it a try. I gave Witcher a try. It did not hook me. And if 10 hours I can't get hooked on a game, I'm sorry. Just think it happened with Dragon Age. It happened with that.
No, I'm not saying it should hook you. I'm just saying, for somebody that likes to talk about how much they love single player experiences.
And I do, but I give them tries. I mean, it's not like I didn't try.
No, I know, but it's just not for you.
It's weird. It's a weird thing. Like, you're right. I understand your point, and I'm not trying to take over this conversation, Mike. You get back to this in a second, but like for me, it's just that's some weird thing that just doesn't resonate with me, and I do love single player games. I talk about it all the time. But go on, Mike.
I mean, I understand completely because it took me like 2 or 3 tries to get over the hump. I am glad I did, even though I still don't like Gwent. if you can get into Gwent, you're set for this game because there's so like the way I played it, I did all the secondary missions I could that seemed interesting because there are a core group of characters that you actually care about by the end of this game, and so I did the missions that sort of applied to them and would change like what they would do or say, and I didn't really necessarily do too many Witcher contracts because they had like nothing to do with them pretty much. But yeah, getting over the hump, it took me some time. This isn't my favorite type of setting or world or anything like that, but I'm glad I did it, and there is a huge depth of content here. There's little things about the game that just get to me every now and then. And this one, I want to continue playing. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to frame my continued play, whether it's just the DLC, just replaying this last portion, or doing the whole thing over in New Game Plus. But there's a lot there, though. Certainly a lot, and I am glad I got to it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not done with The Witcher, even though he wants to be done with me, I think.
All right. Tony, what have you been up to?
More Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Nice. DLC. The side story, right?
Well, DLC expansion. Whatever.
I just call it a side story. I mean, call it a DLC doesn't make sense because it's too big. So it's in its own thing.
Yeah, it's standalone.
It's its own thing.
Yeah,
so.
Standalone.
Yeah.
But it's good. Nothing particularly outstanding or noteworthy to talk about since last time. But this weekend I played the Magic the Gathering Arena Open Beta weekend.
Okay.
And I gotta say, that's pretty good. They obviously took a lot of cues from Hearthstone, but that's because Hearthstone does what they do very, very well.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel? There's definitely a lot of stuff they can still work on, but again, it's in beta. But for me, I love Magic. Hearthstone, I'll play it for a while, and then I get super irritated with it because there's just not enough diversity and stuff like that. So I'm just like, I can't go back to Hearthstone anymore. I just deleted it. I'm like, nope, never playing this game again. But Magic scratches this itch now where like I want to play a game of Magic, but I don't want to leave my house, or it's like, an investment because it's like, I gotta like, buy a new deck or like, whatever. And it's just like, for this, the free to play model isn't the best so far, but I think they're going to be tweaking it, in the coming months and stuff like that. But it was perfectly fine. I spent $5 just to get like the intro pack to support it, and I was able to play all weekend long, even though I didn't need to pay that $5 to do it. But excited to see what they can do with it. I think
I've heard good things about it too.
Yeah, and they have a really good way of like, taking the average customer and getting more money out of them ultimately by combining like the physical and digital aspect, where it's like, so. Perfect example was this past weekend was the pre-release of the newest set. And if you went to attend one of the pre-releases in your kit, they gave you a code that you could redeem on the Arena store. And it unlocked what they call sealed event, where it's like you get 6 packs and you make a deck and you play until you lose, I think, 3 times or whatever it is. So like, even though you paid money to get physical cards, they gave you a code to go play, the equivalent that you just played on the Arena version, which is really cool because it's just like, well, why not? Give it a try. It's that whole like the first hit is free kind of thing. So I'm excited to see what kind of new business opportunities are all, because ultimately that's what it is. But getting people to play the paper or digital version, vice versa, they have unique opportunity there that like something like Hearthstone doesn't have. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move into gaming news. Talk about real quick. Before I forget, I heard more news about the layoffs at Telltale. I haven't all during the week. We heard more and more as it came out. We talked about last week where they obviously they're getting sued now. They have a lawsuit from the people that got fired there. I also heard that they let people go like Friday morning of, and they had just like hired people like a couple days before.
The week.
Yeah. So it's like people that migrated, moved. They moved there to do this. Like, and there's people on visas that have to leave. Like they brought in people from out of the country and to do work, and now they have to leave. It's unbelievable, that situation. Like, how do you get it that badly and then let it go that badly, and not plan on shutting down? Like, to just do it on that Friday morning at a meeting. It's just unbelievable. But anyways. Let's go into the other news. We talked about that last week, so let's go into what's the CD Projekt news we have here?
So the author of the Witcher novels, which which the video games are based off of, is trying to sue CD Projekt Red because he wants more money. So way back in the day when CD Projekt Red was first becoming developers, because their history is they started as pirators in Poland. Like that's all they did was because games didn't get released there very often, and that's all they would do. They would legally obtain these games, burn them onto discs, and that's why there's CD in their name, and sell them for really cheap prices just so people could play those games and stuff like that, because there was no official market. And eventually, just like Napster and all that stuff, it's like eventually they got so much money they were able to legitimize their business, and they're like, you know what, we want to play a game, we want to make a game that you would want to play and stuff like that. So they were looking for a license to get. So they went to the guy that wrote The Witcher, because it was a very popular series in Poland. We're like, hey, we would love to make a video game based on your Witcher series, and we would pay for it, obviously. And they're like, how about royalties? And he's like, yeah, nah, I don't like video games. They're stupid. I think they're for stupid people. I think you guys are going to fail, so I don't think I'm going to get any royalties off of this. So I just want a lump sum. And they're like, okay, how much? And he's like, $16,000. Now, this is the late 90s, I think, something like that. So it's like $16,000 for a startup, that doesn't have that much to throw around.
So it's like $32,000 now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that was a significant portion of their budget back in the day. So they're like, all right, well, here you go. Here's $16,000. And then Witcher 1 came out, sold millions of copies.
Oh, sure, yeah. Witcher 2 got even better.
It was extremely renowned. And then Witcher 2 got even more popular, sold even more millions of copies, got them even more notoriety. And then Witcher 3 came out and just fucking took them to the stratosphere in terms of they're almost a household name in at least the hardcore gaming community.
Sure, yeah.
And making millions and millions and millions upon dollars. And now this guy's like, well, shit, I should have taken the royalties. And he's bitter about that. And he
made that decision. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Well, it's what he gets. I also find this timing interesting because when I heard there would be that Netflix Witcher series that he is more
he's banking in on his character now. He's now finally collecting.
So that's how I said that's how he can make money off of what this game series did to make this.
This actually was nobody outside of Poland until CD Projekt Red.
They made his character what it is, and
so the Netflix took the smart play back then.
Sure.
Who was CD Projekt Red? Okay, we're gonna pay you for this license. Do you want to have, do you want more upfront, or do you want to take the bigger risk and maybe get royalties if we do well? It's like, I'm going to take the money now. That was a smart play at the time because who knew what they were doing? And now, obviously, in the long run,
I think royalties are always the smarter play in situations like that.
Absolutely, because $60,000. Who the fuck cares? Even in the absolute worst case scenario, Bond, you're like, okay, well, I'll have to license out to somebody else if they ever want it.
Yeah, the situation he was in at the time, it probably was a lot of money for him because again, this character was not known at all outside of Poland. It was a very small character. So.
Yeah.
Well, either way, even if he didn't get as much money as they could from the video games, because of the video games, his book sold well internationally, so he directly profited in that way.
Yes,
then the Netflix deal, like we just talked about. So he is definitely making more money than he ever would have, regardless if he took the royalties or not. So this guy is just fucking greedy as hell, and I hope he doesn't get any more money from them. Fuck him.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's kind of my opinion as well. I do wonder which aspects of the character that I see in this game were written by him and were adapted, because they made him the perfect video game character in the way where they said, well, Witchers don't emote as much as normal people. They also have a voracious sexual appetite because of their Witcher constitution, and this character also hates going in portals, even though all the other characters around them do. It's all these character traits seem perfect for him to just be this character that everyone's going to want to be and works in a game. I wonder how much of that was written originally and how much of that was for this game.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move
on. Yeah, no one would ever... This Netflix series is what I thought how he would really bank on it. Now that it's not based on the games, but
yeah. That's
beyond that, it's lame. I don't see him renegotiating after all this time. It's what's in his contract.
I know. No, I don't think so either. All right, let's move into other news. We have the Harry Potter game leak, possibly today. It's a rumor leak, right? This is a rumor still?
I mean, the thing is, like,
it's a real game.
This is a real game because nobody has been able to disprove the assets, and like nobody would just make
Looks
all
good.
that shit to. Yeah, exactly. It looks pretty.
The
good.
rumor is it's Avalanche, the people that did the not the Just Cause Avalanche, the other Avalanche, the people that did this Disney Infinity.
Oh, okay. So it
And
looks
the only
like
reason
it's an
Rockstar's
RPG.
name got mentioned is because it's Warner Brothers and they're in England or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only reason they mentioned that.
Looks like
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Yeah, Rocksteady.
Yes. I'm thinking Red Dead Redemption here.
This is, by the way, that got leaked. Is it looks like an RPG that you create a, wizard at Hogwarts, and you explore Hogwarts as a new wizard, and it looks actually really good. And what a good concept. So looks pretty cool. I'm guessing we'll hear some more maybe next year at E3 if this is real. So maybe
I think
it's
we're
too
gonna hear
early.
sooner, actually.
I thought it would be a little too early for that, even. But we'll
No,
see.
this is a next generation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Or at least
It's-
cross
yeah.
generation.
Potentially,
I think it's next
but, I
gen.
mean, you. I think we hear about it in November.
I think it's next gen.
No.
Well, we're not going to hear it at
Well, it
Sony's.
doesn't matter if it's next gen. I mean, it's still like 'cause they can still announce. Like Watch Dogs got announced way too early.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. They've learned from that. They're not going to do that
But
anymore.
I'm saying like, who's learned from that? Nobody's learned from
They
that.
announce things a lot later now.
Oh, I just don't think
people.
there's no strategic advantage to announce that anywhere. Like, if the game's not coming out for years, like, why would you announce it now?
I mean,
Because it got leaked.
no. I
Well,
don't
okay,
think so.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. If you're saying because it got leaked, yes, okay, I can see that as a possibility. But like, I don't think they like had planned on announcing it anytime soon.
No, I don't think
Sure,
so.
it's perfectly fine. But now that it's out there, like let's
Yeah.
get the good will going.
Yeah,
and
you
start
gotta
getting-
wonder who leaked that, because like that wasn't just like a small clip. Like, I don't know if you guys
That
watched
was a
it.
long.
Damn.
That was a long clip. Yeah.
It was like
There
a
was-
sizzle. Yeah, it was
They're like-
extensive.
Cut
full
scenes in
trailer.
there, too.
Yeah.
It's like 90 seconds or something.
Yeah. So,
But
whoever
I
did
mean,
that
Xbox
was-
has that big event coming out in November.
No, I mean
I
you're right.
guess-
I mean Sony does not have a big event coming out in December. Just tying in that news, but we'll see. I mean, again, moving into this, Sony PSX has been canceled for this year, so they're not announcing it there. Is this because it's too close to Game Awards?
No, this is because they don't have anything new to show, and I think this just points at a more likely PlayStation 5 in
At E3?
2019.
E3.
I mean, they're
So-
not showing any additional games that are coming out that we
They
don't
said their
know.
focus is on
for
2019, but they didn't really confirm what that focus is. So you're
Days
right.
Gone, and
Yeah.
right.
Um, Does Days Gone move to a cross-gen then?
No.
When is Last of Us 2 supposed to come out?
Doesn't have a date,
Mm.
and I think that's going to be a cross generation too.
I think that's a PS5 launch title.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, E3 this year coming up could be pretty exciting if it doesn't get announced before then.
Because the thing is, again, I don't think they're going to do that long. Like, hey, we're going to announce the system, and it's not going to be available for another year or something like that. I don't think they're going to.
it'll be November of the year that they announce it. I really do think it'll be
So
November.
you think the E3 to the November again?
Yeah, it'll be November 2019 if it gets announced next year early. Like if it
Yep.
gets announced in May or June. Like what did it do? April last time?
Do you think that now that the Switch did it, they might not be afraid to like do it in like like March or April?
I mean,
Like
they could.
Switch did.
They could, because I think that proved that it doesn't matter when you come out as long as you have the games or a game, and Last of Us 2 would certainly go a long way at that.
Yeah.
So it all depends, but I think so Nintendo had pretty much nothing to do because that last holiday season, we talked about it. The NES Classic was their system, their best-selling system that holiday season. They're like, fuck it, we don't have anything. Here's the NES Classic. Switch is coming in March. We're good for it, guys. Zelda. So if they do that, then it's just like, well, what are they releasing next season? I don't know.
I
So
think
it's possible. I'm not ruling it out, but I just don't think. I don't think Sony can operate in that flexibility Nintendo show where it's like, hey, we're just going to drop it because like Sony is very by the books. Like, hey, we've done it this way for so long. That's how we continue to.
Yep.
Right.
You're right. So we'll see. All right. Let's talk about cross-platform play because that got announced.
That relates to our topic.
It relates to our topic. So let's do this. Corey had to reboot, so he'll be on shortly. But we're having massive... Sorry, everybody. We are having massive technical difficulties tonight, but we're powering through this. Cross-platform play is now coming, if I can get the title out here, to the PS4. It was announced last week after we podcast, sort of, through Fortnite right now, but it's opening the door for the other ones. So the cross-platform play is in beta, starting when? Do we have a date on this?
It happened already.
Oh, it already is in beta for Fortnite. So this is huge. Did anybody think Sony would do it this quickly?
No.
I didn't think they would. I'm shocked. They got that much pressure to do this.
And that's what it is because, like we've talked about for months now, like, Sony was doubling down on it. They were like, no, PlayStation is the best place to play these types of games.
2 weeks ago we got doubled down on about it. I think it was 2 weeks ago they mentioned that. Yeah.
So they definitely had a lot of external pressure from like retailers and developers. Like everybody just said like, you guys are just being dicks for no reason and everybody's suffering because of it.
Yeah.
And or it was hurting their bottom line, as in like, hey, V-Bucks sales were down on the PlayStation Store compared to like Xbox and Nintendo Switch because, like for God's sake, they released an official commercial that showed Xbox and Nintendo Switch in the same damn commercial, play together, survive together, all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, you cannot shake off that kind of negativity, especially if you're trying to plan a launch of a next-gen system, and like I said before, like this would definitely hurt them, a la how Xbox One, their reputation was ruined before the system was even officially shown off.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, this could set them up massively for a failure next gen. So to do this now is a good idea because everybody can tweak this, and we're gonna have an interesting next gen. I think we really are going to have an interesting next gen now.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. I think letting these games be cross-platform, it should remove a lot of the console rivalry. To the point, like, you know what I mean? Like, there still always be fanboys, but it should remove a lot of that. And then, does this eliminate console-exclusive third-party, like, items? Like, stuff like Sony's been getting with Call of Duty and with, like, Destiny 2. With having the possibility of cross-platform play for a third-party's company, like their product, now that it will sell across platform, do they do that?
I mean, it really depends on how they do it. I don't know how Activision is handling it. Like, because there's just content where like the other platforms just don't have it. So I could see it being like a competitive advantage, as in like Sony or Nintendo or Microsoft, whoever is going to money hat them for, DLC exclusivity or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I think that would actually go a long way, in my opinion, of souring the whole cross-platform thing. For like even just the games, because if something like Fortnite or like Rocket League were like, hey, we don't care, like, at most is like cosmetic bullshit that doesn't affect the game. But like, it's like, can you imagine if like Fortnite was like, oh, you just don't have this one weapon on PlayStation? Like, I think people would fucking riot.
That's what I mean.
I literally think they would riot.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see, less of that and more of that like cosmetic stuff. Like kind of like.
Yeah, I could advertise more for Sony if they get the exclusive like hat that somebody can only wear in Fortnite, and then you're playing somebody that has that, and you're like, I really want that hat, but you have an Xbox, you're like, shit,
and Rocket League does
colors.
That. Yeah, right, and they do that with like Rocket League already. So like the Rocket League Nintendo Switch version has like cars that are skinned in Mario, Luigi, and like Samus. And you can play them online. It's just when other people see you, you just play as the stock car. But you don't know that. Like, it's just that's what they appear as, to you and stuff like that.
True. I was saying like that those assets should be able to be seen at least for you.
Yeah.
If they want to advertise.
We could get there. We could
not owned. Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, you can just go default on things. But yeah, like the weapons and stuff that do different things, I think that stops on this next gen if this is the case. I think that Call of Duty, for instance, would not. What?
The biggest question is this real? Because I don't know if it's real yet.
It's happening. I mean, you can't.
It's happening with one game that pretty much is so big it forced Sony to do this. It doesn't mean they're going to do it everywhere else.
Close the door on somebody else because you're not as big as Fortnite.
Well, technically,
who says they can't?
technically, no. Technically, if you read what their actual press statement said, they said it's an open beta and it will be for select third-party games.
So that
doesn't mean all.
And so, is this the standard? I don't know. It doesn't look like it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So far, we know of one game where this is going to happen, and it's only because a game is so huge it forced them to do this pretty much.
So this whole discussion is theoretical right now.
I mean, you would hope and think that this opens the floodgates, but I'm not sure. I'm really not now.
You have to start with the biggest game. You have to.
I think so. Yeah.
I think the next thing we do see is Minecraft. That's the next biggest game, still. And Rocket League, still huge. And then it'll trickle down, because the thing is I'm trying to think of a game that you would cross-play.
Look at sports games. Why not them? Like Madden.
Yeah. I think we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, there's nothing exclusive to Madden or NBA or anything you know what I mean? They're all regular content.
Because those games haven't been doing it already in the first place. With Fortnite, the game was designed in mind because that's what Epic's vision was. We want this game running on every goddamn platform under the sun that can run.
The best idea, the thing that we all win for on this, if this works, is our content moves with us. It really belongs to the game, which means, that's huge.
I love that because I'm hoping personally that this forces Blizzard to do this shit because what frustrates me is I own so many skins for my I have so many skins on my Blizzard PlayStation 4 Overwatch account, but I log into my PC Overwatch account and I have to unlock them all over again.
I mean,
and it's just
the hours I spend on Diablo 3 on PS4 to be able to move that would be awesome for the Switch.
Yeah.
I'd love to move that character. There's still so much I didn't do with it, so it's I would love to carry on with it. So,
and I would love this too because a lot of my other friends only have Xbox Ones, and I have no reason to own one except for them.
Yeah, so. I mean, it does limit that, but I mean, Microsoft doesn't care. They're going for services.
But I just mean, if this does happen everywhere, then we could play third-party games together.
That's what I'm saying. But Microsoft doesn't. If Microsoft is being honest with us in what they're saying, they don't care. They're going for as many service-related items as they can give you. If that,
you say they don't care about third-party games playing on all the consoles, or they don't care if you do that or not, or they don't care if you're on.
They don't care if Mike doesn't go out and buy an Xbox.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think that they're planning on moving into more service-related items, and if that means cross-network play, we might see more spread out from Microsoft. It maybe not to Sony, but we might see something on Switch or something from Microsoft. You know what I mean? I still think that they might move that way. I don't know. It's getting further out there, but
I'm not sure about that. But
they still want you to purchase Microsoft stuff.
Sure.
So they just make it more accessible to you. And
that's what I'm saying.
That's what the all access thing is all about.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I still see
yes, but I'm saying they don't not want you to buy their system.
But they want you to buy a Windows machine, I guess. I guess that works. Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm waiting for just even the second game to be announced.
It's gonna be Rocket League.
Not even ready, but just announced. I'm waiting for that because right now I'm still just worried. It's it's just this once in a lifetime phenomenon that is Fortnite that they're really going to commit to, and then it'll be it
has to happen at some point where you guys are saying the third parties are going to have to. There's some of them, not all of them, I'm sure, but some of them are going to be able to start doing this because if everyone's playing nice except for Sony, the customers, the consumers are gonna move.
Yeah, they're gonna go to stuff that works.
It's what happens. I mean, they're gonna go to the better product, and it's happened with PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360, then to PS4. It's they don't care necessarily. They don't. This brand loyalty is not as important as where's the best place.
It isn't, but again, PlayStation 4 made its bones on these single-player games that nothing else can really compare to now at this point, now that we add Spider-Man to the list.
Well, and that's the reason that they're still trying to hang on to what they're hanging on to. But
yes,
again, true. It's not going to be viable, I don't think, if everyone else is playing with each other.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, we'll see. I mean, this is interesting news. There's going to be more announced, I'm sure. We'll see. I mean, Mike said it could be just a one-off. You know?
I mean, they said it like there would be a few, and I hope there are. But I'm believing it when I see it, and I want it to be sooner than what's going to happen probably, because.
I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen this generation.
I was shocked that they announced this last week, just like nonchalantly.
Again, I'm very confused about this next generation because I'm not sure it's going to be a full step again.
It's definitely not. Every step you're going to see now is going to be less and less.
Yeah.
Like, are we in the next generation with the PlayStation
no.
Pro and the
It's a half step.
Scorpio?
They're all half steps.
Nope.
So is the next one another half step?
Yeah.
Which would be a whole.
I guess.
It's true. So, I don't know.
Hard to say what we're seeing.
I mean, we're going to get to the point where consoles are going to be like cell phones. So you're going to get one like every year, and you're going to get a chance to upgrade if you want.
Please stop.
Especially Microsoft gets their service thing going again.
It's already going.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
That's right. You could do it. You could do it with Microsoft.
All Access is a fantastic deal. Like, if you do not have an Xbox...
There you go, Mike. Get an All Access for $25 a month.
It's $22 for an S, $35 for an X.
And the X is the better console.
Oh, yeah.
So even with 1080p.
And you keep it at the end.
And you keep it. And you own it. And you get Game Pass, which is all their game library.
Right. You don't even need to purchase a game if you do not want to purchase a game.
So it's a great idea.
Forza, Sea of Thieves. I mean, you have every first-party game day one.
So there you go, Mike. We're selling you, right?
All those first-party games I don't want to play that they got.
Yeah.
Halo's coming.
You would check out Halo. I know you would play Halo.
Yeah, maybe.
You would play Halo.
If enough people are online playing it, maybe.
Anyways, all right, let's wrap up 415 of the Gamecast. Thanks for tuning in. Write us podcast at allicangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allicangeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune into the spoiler cast for Spider-Man PS4 coming up next. If you haven't heard it first, maybe you heard it first. I don't know. But listen to all of our content. We have movie casts, game casts, spoiler casts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for viewing. See you soon.